Hello. I just realized my camera's up too high. Hold on a second. Well, hello. Welcome back to the throne. I'm Lorenza Nicole Molina, aka the Black Butterfly Queen, La Reina Mariposa Negra, and yeah, we're here. We're here. I uh I have been having a well overdue but good experience this past Mother's Day. Um well, I'm gonna just get to it. When the week before, like about a couple of weeks before Mother's Day, I was good. I'm a mom, um, and a couple of weeks before Mother's Day, I was pretty good. But it's like the week right before, like maybe a few days, maybe 4 days before Mother's Day, I just started like not feeling it. I don't know. I wasn't really into it. I didn't really have. I just didn't have the energy. Mother's Day is a complicated day for most people. It's either very joyful or maybe not as much. Hold on a second. Just realized something else. Okay. Alrighty, I'm back. So Mother's Day is a complicated day, and to be honest, there's so many people that I love that were like mothers to me that are not here now that I think about on this day. But thank God I do have my mother with me. But so far as me, like I didn't mind celebrating her or whatever, she's my mom. But so far as myself, I just didn't have it for me. And um I made a post about this on my Instagram and everything about how I wasn't feeling it and how my sisters kind of really helped me with that. And I didn't really understand why because I was like, I get like I'm supposed to be celebrated that day. And I get that I'm fortunate to have my mother still with me. And I, like I said, I did not celebrating her, but the way I, the way I originally thought I wanted to do stuff, um, it didn't transpire that way. And at first I was like, well, maybe it's because of that. Maybe it's because I'm not getting to do exactly what I want to do. But as I thought about it, even if I could do it that way, I just didn't feel like celebrating. And I didn't really understand what that was. But one of my sisters actually got me some flowers, and her and her children got me some flowers and some, actually this is one of the gifts right here and everything. Because I love coffee, I love mugs. And I forgot to bring my picture that says subscribe. One of her daughters made me a couple of cards and she brought me a picture that says subscribe on it. And I meant to actually put it up here before I started. But um it was so nice and thoughtful. I was like, oh, thank you. So I got a care package. And my other sister was like, girl, you just need to do something for yourself anyway, because at the end of the day, like, you don't want to let this moment pass and not do anything for yourself. And I was hearing what she was saying and everything. I just kept feeling like I, I felt like, have you ever felt like celebration is more about the people celebrating you than you? And not saying that my family doesn't love me or want to celebrate me or anything like that or doesn't appreciate me, but it just didn't feel like it felt like it was a thing that was supposed to happen and not a thing that was just like meant to happen because it's me and it's my family and they love me. You know what I'm saying? It just, I just felt exhausted. And I thought that also was it, right? Well, Mother's Day comes, and right before Mother's Day come, I take, my friend's advice, and my sister and my friend, and I go ahead and do some retail therapy. That's always supposed to be something that works, right? We always do a little retail therapy. Didn't get a whole lot of things, got a few things, and I was like, okay, this is, I feel a little better. I did something for myself, got a couple of things for myself. Then still wasn't feeling that great. Other sister brought me the gifts and everything, and I spent time with the family, and I felt a little better and everything. And I was like, but why do I still feel like, I feel like, you know what I'm saying? And it was just like something I was carrying. Well, Mother's Day comes, spending time with my mom and everything like that. And my mom was like, before she came over, she went to the gym and did some stuff for herself and all that stuff. And the things that I even ordered before Mother's Day, they didn't even come. I was like, okay, so what's really going on? And the two things I kept noticing is that everybody had to do something for themselves that was for themselves and not waiting for somebody else to do it for them, but do it for themselves and to embrace the day for themselves, right? And that anything that was typical that I was trying to do was not going to work. And so I sat with that for a minute, and I was like, I need to get up and I need to go ahead and just have like a at home spa day. So I made a tea bath. I have never done a tea bath before, so I looked up everything and I had the stuff that I needed. So I made a tea bath and all that stuff. You can see it on my Instagram, Lorenza Nicole Molina, and I and at the Black Butterfly Effect Instagram page, I have pictures and stuff. But I did that. I put my essential oils on. I did all this stuff. It was just it was raining. I had the waterfall playing in the background. I had the sound of the actual rain. I had the diffuser going off. I was just immersed in water. I caught up on some reading. I just stayed there, shut off from everybody for a while. And when I finally took my moment, that's when I found out what was the issue. The issue was I felt God like tap on my heart, and he said, it's grief. And I was confused because I was like, grief? Like, my mom's here. Like, what am I grieving? Like, I'm fortunate, what could I be grieving? And, I've spoke about this. I lost a friend earlier this year. It hasn't been that long, maybe about almost 2 months, 6 weeks, whatever. And the way I interacted with this person, I would have never thought that I would be grieving around Mother's Day. But it wasn't the fact that it was Mother's Day. It was anything. Like, God started pointing out that I was carrying grief in a lot of spaces. And he simply said, it doesn't care. It doesn't care where you are. It doesn't care what you're doing. It doesn't care how you feel or what your intentions are. It doesn't care. It's going to show up in everything. And since I'm a compartmentalizer, I compartmentalize things. This is for that, that's for that. I didn't understand why I would feel it here, but it was irrelevant about the compartments that I've made in my life, the sections that I sectioned it off. It was about the fact that I was carrying that, and that it was the thing that was affecting not just me celebrating myself, it was affecting a lot of other things that I'm so used to being burnt out and tired and everything. I've had some physical issues and some physical, health and all these things that have occurred. So I didn't notice that it was grief because I chalked it up to something else, and I just kind of kept pushing. And though God gave me the assignment to keep working on my purpose and keep doing those things, it was that the issue wasn't that I was moving. The issue was that I wasn't recognizing what I was dealing with, so much so that I couldn't I couldn't like put my finger on it, you know? And I was so glad I took that moment because I wouldn't have realized that I'm still dealing with grief. Not saying that I'm still dealing with grief like it was just so long ago, but I think anybody, which is pretty much all of us who's lost anybody that's so important to them, that has been very effective in their life in any manner, especially in a way that you didn't grow up experiencing because that wasn't available, and then that person goes away. I think it's so important if you start feeling just drained or tired and feeling like you don't want to do anything. And this is the thing. I didn't even feel like originally sad. I didn't feel like crying. I just didn't feel. Only thing I felt was just like, hmm. And so I couldn't say, I didn't know to say, I'm depressed or whatever. I just didn't understand what that was because it was just not going away. It was just, with me. And I have been carrying that through a lot of things. So I just want to say, when you've gone through it doesn't matter how long or how much time has passed, and it doesn't matter what you're doing, it can show up in any space, in any place. And it's important to recognize that so you can find the tools that help you to deal with those things as they show up so that you can still show up for life and enjoy life in the midst of grieving or feeling like, and understand not to mistake that as something else. Especially when you're in another season of life or another era of life, you don't want to just assume that, that's that old thing. And it may not be. It may look like something, but it's not. And so I just wanted to share that, that, you know, two things can be very true at the same time. You can feel very blessed and you can feel very overwhelmed at the same time. And which moves me to my next point. One of the other things God showed me was that it was so important for me to start taking my moments because throughout this life that I've had, I'm grateful to be here, but it hasn't been easy. I've faced a lot of things. I've faced death more than once. I've been homeless more than once. I've been physically assaulted more than once. I have been lied on. I have been publicly lied on. And I'm not just talking about, someone made a Facebook post. I'm saying like people were trying to turn even my family members against me, churches against me, people that I went to school with, like this, all kinds of things against me based out of a lie. So much so that my family started getting attacked. I got stalked. I got harassed. I've been stalked more than once. I've been taken against my will. I've been through, in a nutshell, many things. And I'm so used to, because of that, just pushing and continuing on because I know I can't stay in it. I have to like just keep going, that I've been in the buckle down and go mode so much that I hadn't looked up and looked around and seen how far I've made it. I remember when I was like 14, I went with some chest pain so bad, and I wasn't very verbal about what I was going through emotionally because I just didn't, you're a teenager and sometimes you don't think. I was like 12, 13. Sometimes you don't think like there's a space for that. You don't even realize that you may need to speak up about some things. And I just assumed I wasn't gonna make it to C14. Well, I'm well past 14 now. Okay. And I mean, just living in some very spiritually and physically traumatic situations, and watching, even watch my mom doing all that she can. Because just because we go through things doesn't mean like it's always just your parent wasn't there for you. No, my mom did all she could. I can say that. And I appreciate that because that's where my faith comes from. Just seeing her have a relationship with God and not necessarily religiousness, just a relationship, And so that taught me how to have my own. we didn't always get to go to church like that. So we read Bible at home and talked and prayed, and that's what we did together as a family and stuff like that. When we couldn't go, sometimes we were just too bored, and there was nobody available to come pick us up. We were a family of 6, sometimes 7, depending on who was living with us, and it was a lot. So I just say all that to say, because of those things, I didn't recognize that I needed to have a moment. And so now I know, like, after that, it I start seeing where God was in my day. I start seeing where he was even in my gift. Um the flowers that was given are they match a theme that I have going and working in my bathroom. And the thoughtfulness, it was like a little care package just for me, and I just haven't felt thought of. When people are going through grief and everything, it's good to check and call, but sometimes sending something, sometimes just bringing something that goes the extra mile, and it was something I needed. I really needed it, and so God just sent my sister my way, and she just bought it, and her kids are so involved in it, and I just felt really thought about. I'm not gonna cry. I'm about to, but I'm not going to. But I just want to say, y'all be thankful, thinking of the people, in more than one way than just text me. I'm not saying text messages are bad, but just you know, there's other things. Um, and that goes for me too. That's something I have to remember as well for others. Um, but yeah, sometimes we go through so much in our lives we don't look up. And I feel like as much as I am grateful for finally arriving and to a certain place in life or whatever, I still felt like I wasn't really absorbing it. And I think um Sunday helped me to realize that. It helped me to see, like, where I was. It's like I finally was able to look up and just actually receive it fully, like accept it. And so what God was just teaching me about, just absorbing in the moment, being in the moment, because you don't want to miss out on who you are right now. There's so much beauty and wonderful things about your life right now and about who you are right now. And yeah, there may be some very painful things, but there take your moments. Take your time to just absorb things and to process it. I've been hearing Sarah Jake say something in a lot of her in her book tour when she says marinate. I think it's really important. That's one of the books I've been reading too, and I don't want to spoil it for nobody, so I'm trying not to say too much. But one of the things she has in there that she has also brought up on her book tour is that she has a section that says marinate. And that's what I did. I literally marinated in that water. Like, I was sitting in that water, and I mentally marinated, and then the next day I did as well. And God was just showing me how far I came, and I felt it this time. And I didn't just strategically, like, oh, okay, when I was 13 this happened, and now I'm over here, and now this is going on. Or when I had this child, this was going on, this is going on, and this is what changed. I can calculate what changed. No, it's like me on the inside, and I see it manifesting outwardly. And I just I I thought I asked for this, but I don't think I asked for it on this level. And the fact of the matter is that it's not even all that God is going to give me, all that he has for me. But I was able to see my life through God's eyes. And I realized the things that I feel like chaos. And I just want to share this. If you feel like you got all this chaos and you just can't get anything done, or that you just have so much going on and you got this project and that project and you feel overwhelmed, you've made it. And I'm not saying that life is not full of chaos, but what God showed me was that it's not chaos. It's blessings. It's my life. I have a full life. He showed me I have a full life. Even in my friend's passing, he showed me, he was like, you have somebody that you miss. You got to know people. You've got to experience them. You've got to learn so much about yourself through these people. Their death is a part of your life, and it still produces fruit in you. You have a full life. This is not chaos. This is what fullness looks like. This is what we talk about having a blessed life, but this is what fullness looks like. This is what it means to have fullness. I guess I keep saying the word fullness, but this is what it looks like. And we're so critical because we think from the spaces of the past. Sometimes we think from the places where it's like, I got this, I don't have this done. And I had to be that way. I had to be hard on myself. I had to not give myself too much room because I had to learn things. And I felt like some places I had to teach myself things. I had to ask questions. I had to look for it because I had a certain mindset or a certain goal or a certain desire in my heart that no one else could really teach me that was around me. So I had to look for it. I had to ask God about it. I had to be, because I didn't want to fall into certain things because I had the lack of this. I had to be really on top of, well, I don't want to fall into this because, I didn't have this, I don't want to be a stereotype here. So I've been very anal about a lot of the things in my life, which, when you're raising your own heart and mind in that manner. I don't want to fully say I raised myself because my mom was there, but when you're raising your heart in that manner, when you're trying to manage yourself and make sure you don't fall into pitfalls, you don't know how to operate any other way. And I realized I still have been operating in that way where I've been trying to manage myself so much to where I haven't really lived in my moments. It's like winning a race and not celebrating, not even clapping, not even say, yes, I did it. It's like, okay, what do I need to do next? And I don't want to do that. I want to be able to enjoy who I am right now. I don't want to look back at pictures 20 years from now and be like, oh, wow, I didn't realize how much I had going for me. I didn't realize how beautiful I was. I didn't realize, I've had to, fight the fight, and I've had to, you know, put up, put them hands on life. You know what I'm saying? I've had to really push, and I've come to the place where I deserve to take a moment and just see things from God's perspective and not see it from the critical, self-criticizing space. That's growth for me. It's not that I hated myself, but I just the first thing I'm going to see is what I need to do. I got to be responsible. I got to be accountable. I can't wait for anybody to tell me to do it. I got to do it for me. I got to do it for myself. And God didn't give us this life just to either be a survivor only or a workaholic and never eat the fruit of our labor. Like, you didn't survive all of that just to keep fighting in the same manner. You didn't go through all the things you went through just to keep finding the next thing you got to do. Like, when we move now, we have to move from a space that is in a healed mindset, from a God perspective, from a God mentality, from a God mind. Like, we have to think as Him. We have to, begin to move in His flow. It's good that, you did what you had to do to get where you are. But God is also the same, also gave you the strength to do what you did to get where you are. So you didn't really do it by yourself. But He's now, it's like working and resting at the same time. It can be true. Because if we're working according to how He is asking us, then He's going to give us just enough for what we need to do, and He's going to make sure that multiplies itself and produces fruit, and He's going to let us be in the moment as well. Being in the moment adds back to you. It gives you energy. So all that fatigue and all that feeling drained and all that stuff is because some of us don't know how to just be in a moment. And really, I'm one of those people. It took God to help me And this is just recently. This is not like, oh, I've been doing this for 5 years. This is this Sunday. This is Monday. This is Tuesday. This is recently. It takes God to help you be in the moment. Some of us we just it just takes God to be in the moment. It just takes God to really understand. You you deserve and you need to see your life from God's eyes. You don't want to miss out on who you are. You don't want to miss out on how wonderful you are and how amazing you are. Even though I was very critical and anal about a lot of things, I'm sitting here at this desk and I'm looking at my camera and I'm looking around. I still don't know how I got here. I still don't know how the me that I know is sitting here. Not saying like, oh, I'm just so grand or everything's so great. I'm just saying like it's the doing. This is an important notice. It's time to notice who you are. It's time to notice. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Carlos. It's time to notice who you are. It's time to notice you're amazing. It's time to notice how good you've done. It's so important for the next phase of everything. This time in this era, because this is bigger than just a season. We're in a new era of life and the latter. And there's seasons within that era. And this season within this era is looking up, paying attention to the important notice, seeing who you really are, receiving your life in a different perspective, not looking at it as fractured or broken or not complete, not looking at what you didn't do and looking at your life as an uneven life. This is it. This is life. This is not all of it. This is not going to be where it stops, but this is life. There's so many full moments that we miss out on because we only see it from our eyes. We only see what we got to do. We only see what people told us we're supposed to do. We have been subscribing to a narrative that is not going to fit where we're going. I just want to be a part of the narrative of God. See, he's the narrator of my life. I thought I was. I thought I was the one with the inner story and the inner dialogue, but really this whole time it's been God. It's been God telling me what to do, how to do it, and where to go. When I was even pushing and I didn't know when to look up, he was the one leading me by my feet step by step. It's always been God. I'm seeing him forwards and backwards. I'm seeing him even in my mother's decisions and in my father's mistakes. I'm seeing him. I'm seeing him. I'm seeing him in the faces of my children. I'm seeing them in my relationship. I'm seeing him and why it was so important for me to go this way. Why it was so important for me to travel this way. You did a good thing. It didn't seem like any of it mattered. And maybe you're not on a big stage yet. Maybe you haven't even wrote the book that you heard about in your head. But right now is just as important as later. If anything, later can't be what it's going to be without today. Your today is valuable. It doesn't matter how boring it was today. It doesn't matter how difficult it was. It doesn't matter. Your life is a gift, and you are a gift in this life. What you've done is not mediocre or small. It's not insignificant. It's not something just to fly past and not credit yourself somewhere. You deserve to see you as you really are right now. Not looking back. How many of us can look back at moments in our life and be like, I didn't know. Or I can't believe I wrote that. Or I can't believe I said that. Or people come up to you and be like, you inspired me. Or thank you for this. And you don't even remember. You're like, what? The essence of you has been impacting people. Do you see? Do you see yourself? Not what hurt, not what they said, not the things you tell yourself that you don't like, not the things you point out that you want to change. That's not you. That's not yourself. Those are opinions. Do you see how beautiful you are? I don't really have any scriptures today like that. Maybe some will come up. All I have is me and my witness in my life and this experience. This is what I got to give today. And I don't know what this means to who, but when we say you're enough, that's not even accurate. You're so more than enough. You're immeasurable. You're multifaceted. There's more things to you than you understand. Do you understand? Just the fact that you are so unique and your uniqueness isn't ugly. Maybe we haven't always been nice or kind. Maybe we've had ugly attitudes, but your uniqueness that God calls you by, He calls you by who you are. He doesn't call you by the mess that you got drug in. He doesn't call you by your mentality. He calls you by the name He gave you before you enter the womb of your mother. That's what He calls you by. That's how He knows you. And just because you don't recognize it doesn't mean that's not who you are. And it doesn't mean that's not who you are. You are who He's called you. I shared this. I've been hearing the Little Mermaid song a lot lately. I shared this with some sisters and friends of mine. And it's the one verse. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I know something's starting right now. Out of the sea, one day I'll be part of that world. And I can't get that out of my head. And I keep seeing this water in my mind. And I keep thinking about the story of the Little Mermaid, how she wanted to be a part of that world so bad. And I know sometimes we demonize things. We got Ursula in there and she's supposed to be the sea witch and all that stuff and everything. But let's take a spin on that. Because just real quick, what if the water represented all your life before, hidden, covered in the dark, hard to see. Light doesn't penetrate exactly where you are. Walking on the seafloor, swimming on the seafloor. And what if you had two decisions, two ways to get to where you're trying to go? You could cheat, or you can wait for your father to let you go. Now, let's alter the story a little bit, because the father, let's say she never asked him and she just assumed. And she just assumed, let's say that. And she went to the sea witch. She went to Ursula. And the shortcut cost her her gift, her voice. But when her father gave her her legs, it didn't cost her her voice. It was necessary. Her voice went with her. I know some people have been covered for a long time. And what God told me when he was showing me this, he said, this is like you. You've been covered in the water. And I always think about God being the living water. And he says, the water is me, is my covering, is what you've been immersed in this whole time. You know, it's been me and you. But I'm about to put you in a position. I'm about to give you legs. You'll still be a daughter. You'll still be the daughter of the sea. But you'll look like them. You'll walk like them. But you'll still be mine. And I let you absorb and saturate and be immersed in me. You are birthed it through me and in me. So that even when you get your legs, you'll always stay close to the water. You'll always need to go take a swim in the water here and there, every now and again. I didn't let anybody see who you were yet. It was dangerous before. It wasn't a safe space for you to go before. You needed to develop a little bit more before I let you emerge out of the water. But now I'm about to give you your legs, and you're going to go walking. And it's not going to cost you your gift. If anything, it's going to be because of your gift that now it is in position and it's going to be used. I'm going to use your voice among the people. And I'm going to use your gift among the people. See, when she went Ursula's way, she was trying to shut her voice off. She was trying to use her voice. And I remember before where I'm at today, when I was younger, I remember people trying to take my voice. I remember people trying to shut me up and people trying to speak against me and people trying to make me feel bad. And even the attack that I went through made me stop singing for a while. But I've been reminded that I need to use my voice. My voice is my gift. My voice is in my dance. My voice is in my writing. My voice is in the provoked thought that I share here. My voice is everywhere I am. My voice is in my hands when I'm braiding. It's in my hands when I'm holding my children. It's the way I love. It's the way I receive love. It's the way I listen, and it's the way I speak. It is me. I have to be all that I am. I have to be all that I am. I am not perfect, but I accept all that I am. All that I am. I know that in my flaws, God will still show up. He will meet me where I fall short. And even where I think I have grown and expanded, there is still a level where he has to take me to. I know that I got to be everything. I got to be all that I am. I got to be all that I am. All that I am. All that I am. Apologizing for nothing. Holding back nothing. Stretching out my wings and flying. Taking a stride when I run. All of me. Some people don't understand where you're going. They don't understand the space that you're going to be in. They don't get it. But what's good? What good is the voice singing it underwater when nobody can hear it? What good are the legs wrapped tight when when you can't really run and be free? It's time to come out of those spaces. They were once good for you. That's where you grew. That's where you manifested. That's where things were cultivated in you. That's where you became stronger. That's when you begin to believe in yourself. But it's time to use your legs. And using your legs, you're literally a fish out of water. It's like, how do I walk in this place? Because I never walked before. I'm used to swimming. I'm used to moving this way. But it's time to use your legs. You didn't even know you had legs. You didn't even know you were capable of sprouting legs. It's kind of like a caterpillar and a butterfly. They're so different. And in the cocoon process, the chrysalis, there's so much going on. But when it comes out and it emerges, it has wings. You have wings. You have legs. You have ability inside of you that you didn't know existed, but only God can put you in the position to use it. Only God can bring it out of you. But now it's happening. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I know something's starting right now. Out of the sea, one day I'll be part of that world. Child. The reason why it's so strange, I mean, people probably even think it's weird. Like, why would you even want to do that? You're supposed to be one of us. You're supposed to be this. You're supposed to be that. No, I'm supposed to be what God makes me. And I don't know where you're going. And I don't know what it looks like. But it's not going to look like anywhere you've been. And so what is being made out coming out of you may look so different, and it may seem so scary, and you may not even identify with it. So strange. Like, why would I be the one to do this? But they're made for your next space, your next place, where you're going. And this is the wonderful thing about legs. You can walk on the land and you can still swim. So you don't lose your ability to swim. You just gain your ability to walk and to run and not be stranded on the beach, not be stranded at almost. And you don't have to sacrifice your gift at anything. This is the place where your gift will be the most effective. You get to go further than anyone else could see. You get to experience and understand and know things that no one else could even in your family tell you, or where you come from tell you about. You are the difference. You are the change. You are the part of the evolutionary process. You are the one that's revolutionizing everything by just being you. You are the bridge, the connector. And when you get to this place, you don't necessarily need to forget that you're a child of the water, of God. But you've been chosen to be among, so that there'll be a different perspective. Even where you're going, you may look like them, but you're still not them. And your experience in the water among those who look like you, but you didn't feel like them, was to help train you. So when you were on the sand and on the land, that you know how to be you among people that aren't necessarily you, like you. They look like you. They may have some of your gifts like you do, some of your talents. But it's so important that you don't conform to their ideas, just like you did not conform to the ideas before. because people need to see that two things can be true at once. They need to see that I can be human and I can be a believer. They need to see that I love this type of music, but I also love God. They need to see that two things can be true at once. Two things can be true at once. That you can be of the water, but still walk on land. Two things can be true at once. You are a combination of the two things that can be true at once. Two realities at one time parallel. Two realities that do not conflict or contest one another. Two things moving at the same time, because all of you who you are naturally and spiritually need to be aligned at one. Two things can be so true at once. Who you are, your natural desire for doing hair, or your natural desire to help children and things like that, and what you would actually do, and then who you are spiritually when God may tell you to pray for somebody or read a scripture, or he may just tell you to give somebody a ride home or whatever. But who you are two things can be true at once. Two things can be true at once. Two things, and if nobody else can be the best example of what two things can be true at once, look at Jesus. All of God and all human. Two things can be true at once. And this is, I want to also talk about kids who happen to be biracial. I tell my children this all the time. You are not a fraction of anything. You have a unique perspective to see into both worlds. Two things can be true at once. You can both be Hispanic and black. You can both be white and Asian. You can both be white and black, or black and Asian. You can be both of those things 100%. You are not a fraction, but two things that can be true at once. You are a child of both worlds, and that bridge means something. Who you are means something. It's nothing to feel bad about or not or feel like you don't belong. No, there's so many people that are like you that need to see you as you. They need to see you embrace who you are. Yeah, so you may not fully fit over here, fully fit over there, because maybe you have a certain capacity that others don't have to understand and see a scope, or see the world from a unique corner that other people don't get to see. You can love science and love to dance. Two things can be true at once. Oh, kiulolero soko baragande. Mariandoro siki anderero soko baragande. Marlelero ko barara siande di kiande, loro siande de kiande. Maroro ko barara siande, lelelero ko barara siande. Lelero siande, lelele kiande roro sande. Manando loro siande, ki sande, lelele siando roro sande. Holy Spirit, have your way. Two things can be true at once. I want to clarify. It's not that we need to be reckless or not grow or use. I'm just being my natural self as an excuse not to be a better version of yourself. It's important to lay down mentalities given to you by lies or trauma or people, and take up God's mentality so that your natural, who you are naturally, actually does show up, because it is fed by your spirit. Wholeness is not just a healed mind or a healed spirit, a healed body. It's those things coming together in harmony. Harmony. Coming together in harmony. Working together. Like two lungs breathing in and out, just working together. Like the heart beats and the lungs breathe, and the blood flows, and the nervous system signals the brain, and the brain signals the body on what to do. Like we have so many parts of us working at once, and that's just our body. Why wouldn't there be more than one part to you? You are going into a different place. You can't stay where you've been. You have to, and you can't stay where you've been. Not mentally. that naturally. Some of that means some of y'all are going to have to leave the job that you're at. Some of that means we have to leave. We always talk about leaving people, but some of that means that we have to change the way we see things. We have to let God change it. We have to start questioning how we're thinking. Does that really make sense? Like questioning what you hearing in your head, like taking moments to question it so that you can be aware of what's going on, so you know how to approach it and attack it. Y'all, I there's multiplication happening in your life, even unaware. There is a paradigm shift at work and happening right now, and it's God's doing. You are not going to recognize your life. You're not going to recognize your life. Yeah. I just keep thinking about the words of that song. Everything is about to change. And there's some people that you probably wanted them to be here. But it's going to be so beautiful. Elevation is happening. Multiplication is happening. Evolution is happening. I don't know when. I don't know how. But I know something's starting right now. Out of the sea. One day I'll be part of that world. I really don't. I keep thinking about it's just happening. It's just happening. There's nothing that can stop it. It's already in full. It's already in effect. Nothing can stop what's happening now. Nothing. I mean, nothing. Don't make me close one more door. I don't know why that song in my mind, but anyway, because nothing. But yeah, nothing is gonna be able to stop. Nothing can stop this wave. It's like a tsunami hitting. All you can do is move out the way because it's coming. God is coming. He is showing up, and God loves to do things in a new way. He's the same guy yesterday and tomorrow, but since we don't know all sides of him and he hasn't showed us everything yet, he lets us see things as we can handle them or need to. The new thing that's happening, you and I have not seen before in this world. Because the level and the state of what this world is in has never been this condensed of hate and evil, and the darker it gets, the brighter the light and the more lights that are thrown into the sky. God said to Abraham that his children will be like the sand on the beach and the stars in the sky. Excuse me. This is a paradigmic moment. You are never going to be the same. This is more than what you asked for. This is more than what you could have thought to ask for. When God said, I will give you more than you can think or ask, what's about to happen is you're on the precipice of it. You are walking into it and you were unaware. You didn't know. You're just gonna be there and not understand how it happened. How did I get here? I know I was putting work in, but how is this still, like, I can't go back and look at all the details like I thought. I remember this day, but I can't put it together. And something Steve Harvey said, when you can't put it together, something extraordinarily good happening, like you can't figure, it's always God. Because some things just shouldn't be unless there's favor. You know, they say you got to know somebody that knows somebody before you can do anything. No matter how gifted or how talented you are, you got to know somebody that knows somebody. I know God. I told some of the sisters today, I'm finna be shaking some hands. I'm finna be in some rooms. I'm finna be having some conversations. I'm finna be taking notes on what people say. I'm finna be hearing. I'm finna have me some new mentors and some. I'm about to be in the room. You understand what I'm saying? I'm finna be in the room. Okay. I'm finna be in the room with greatness. I'm finna be in a room with purpose. I'm finna be in a room with intentionality. I'm finna be in a room with destiny. I'm finna be in a room and I'm finna have some conversations with them. Okay. I'm finna be in a room with women who I admire. I'm finna be in the room with them. I don't even know how I'm getting there. I'm being for real. But I know I'm going to be in there. God said, I will put you before great men. I know I'm finna be in there. Because my identity is not summed up in what people thought I was when I was swimming in the water. My identity is not summed up in what people think I should be when I'm walking on land. My identity is summed up when on who God has called me to be. And he called me to be myself fully, my gifts fully, apologizing for nothing when it comes to who I am, being accountable for the energy and the vibes I put out into this world, being responsible for how I show up in this world. Excuse me. Y'all, why my nose always, I gotta put it in the trash. Why my nose always trying to start running? Out. But you know, it's that season. There's nothing that can stop it. I don't care how sick you are. I don't care. There's nothing that can stop this. Watch. And it's not, and this, like we used to hearing, people talking about one day. Well, today's the day, one day happened yesterday. It's already, like when I tell you, you're already in the process, you're already in it. You just don't even, you haven't recognized it. That's why you got to slow down for a minute and be like, what's going on? What's happening? It's a paradigm shift. I keep saying that, but I don't think I've explained it. A paradigm shift is something that it changes how the course of everything, like how we look at the world, how we show up in the world, like the internet. It was a paradigm shift. Pop music created by Michael Jackson, paradigm shift. Michael Jackson and all the things he did, he was like a paradigm shift. God himself showing up. And I think I said this in another podcast. Jesus shift. Everything changed when he came. If you doubt here how real he is, why did everything change so much when he came? We've had great philosophers and prophets and theologians. We have had great, people of literature and art and music. But ain't nobody really shifted the narrative or challenged the thought as much as Jesus himself. This man, this God's son, only begotten son, meaning directly from, exactly the same, him. We're made in his image, but Jesus is actually him, his directness. You know what I'm saying? He's still more famous than anybody. And people say all kinds of stuff. They lie on him, and they use his name in vain, kind of like people trying to use famous people's name to get in the club. They do all that. They do all of that. And if Jesus was walking on the earth today, there'll be people who be like, "Are you going to comment on what somebody said to you?" They're going to be like, "Why would you? Why didn't you say this, or why didn't you say that? Why didn't you defend yourself?" Because if you know, you know. Truth. They say game recognizes game. Truth recognizes truth. When you say, "I know you," my sheep hear my voice. They know my voice, and they will not listen to or follow another voice. They will follow me. I'm paraphrasing a little bit because I don't remember verbatim, but that's pretty much what it say. Look it up. My sheep know my voice. Well, guys, we're in a period. I just want to sum it up. Pay attention to where you are. Embrace it. Embrace by taking moments. Don't assume or chalk it up to whatever you're going through to something you've experienced before. Actually assess it and let God show you what's going on. Let him give you his eyes so he can see so you can see what is going on. Receive that truth when he shows you who he is and who you are. Love yourself right now. Don't wait to love yourself properly later. For what? Now is the only time that truly exists. The past is the now that we just had, and the future is the now we're about to have. Like that, but now is always there. It's always consistent. It's always existing. We are in a paradigm shift with women, with men, with children, with people. We're in a paradigm shift with culture, with how religion is even viewed. What do we call it? Christianity? What do we call it? It was called the way. Was it ever supposed to be a religion, or was it just supposed to be a belief system when it comes to the heart of people? When it comes to the heart, just following God and encouraging your sisters and brothers, understanding that. We have so many things that are being questioned and so many things that are being manifested and so many things that are changing. We are in one of the most biggest shifts in our known history. And I don't think we're fully aware. In spiritual history and natural history, we are in a big shift right now. And that is a paradigmic shift where the world will look different. And it's not just the world, but it's your individual lives that are also paradigm shifts. We are part of a bigger picture. And what is happening in your life is because you are part of the turn. The turn. You are part of the shifting. You're part of the pivot. You can be in the same place, and then when you pivot, You're in a different perspective. And when you see something from a different perspective because of a pivot, it changes your mind. It can blow your mind. Your position can be up here and then it can be down here. And that little change in position will change your mind. God has pivoted some things so that there will be a paradigmic shift here. So there'll be a paradigmic shift here, and how we move and show up in the world. We have to pivot for the shift. We have to pivot for the shift. We have to pivot. Is a paradigm. This is bigger. It's not going to be the same. When I talk about wars and rumors of wars and things like that, yes, we always talk about the last days and all this stuff. There's been the last days for a while, okay? Let's just be real, okay? Technically, if you think about it. But all the crazy things and genocides that are happening on the level that they're happening, on the rate and speed that they're happening, are signs, yes. Yeah. Of how necessary it is for you to just show up. No, I'm not saying that you're supposed to go save the world. No, you're just supposed to show up as, that's why you just got to be you. God don't need you to do everything else. He just needs you to be you. He just needs you to show up as yourself, because he fills the gap. But you are so important to the change. Okay? You are in it. That's why you're feeling things. That's why, even if you didn't ask to be a part of it, honey, I'm sorry, you're in it. You're part of it. If you're feeling the shift and you're feeling the change and things are just not making sense, and what used to work, it just don't work, and you just, and you're past certain things, you're past certain moments, you don't even comment on certain things. You don't even, how some of us, even keyboard warriors and people comment on stuff. Some people, you don't even feel like being a part of the conversation anymore. You just ready for new conversation. Like, that's something happening on the inside of you. You say, no, I'm not going to go. I'm going to chill at the house. You know what I'm saying? Doing that, just that. When you probably used to be the main one to show up. Like, little things that you just, I just don't have the energy for that. I don't care for that. I just don't. Pay attention to what's going on with you, because you're a part of a bigger picture. But what's happening with you is so important for you and your family and your lineage and your life, and you're right now just enjoying that. Enjoy who you are. Be who you are. There's so much going on in this world. We need people to be who they are. We need people to laugh. We need people to tell the jokes, and we need people to sing the songs, and we need people to come up with the dances, and we need doctors and scholars and scientists. We need critical thinkers. We need artists, of all kinds. We need lawyers. We need whoever you are. The world won't be the same without you. That's why you're here. So the world doesn't, be the same. There's always going to be something going on. There's always going to be free will at work, and that's manipulated by evil. But there's also, we have to realize that there's also going to be a light, and there's also going to be free will that is inspired by God, inspired by good. So remember, that is also part of the reality we live in, so that we don't feel hopeless or overwhelmed by the world we're in today. But that you understand how effective your presence is. No one can be you. We were gifted you in the time that we've given. You were born then, you were born now. I don't care how many people take you for granted. It's the level of disrespect on your life and who you are and how important you are is a direct indicator of how important it is for you to stay. Ain't nobody gonna be fought that hard that don't have a purpose that is so impactful that it will change people. Well, I hope um, you receive yourself today. You receive how God sees you. You receive his love and his compassion, and you expel all lies out of your inner ear, the things that have stayed with you for too long. I'm just going to pray. God, I just thank you for today. I thank you for anybody that shows up on this podcast when they decide to show up, when it's time for them to hear it. God, so many things are changing in so many people. Sometimes it's scary because they don't know who to go to, but God, we can always go to you. You're with us. God, I speak against every lie that's been in their inner ear, that's lived with them, that's sat with them their whole life, that has tried to come up against them. But God, I pray that God, behind the lie, you reveal the truth. You reveal the truth of who they are and how you see them. That this is not an imaginary thing or a fairy tale or just some good little sweet little nice little story or just fake optimism. But God, you mean what you say when they say they're wonderful, fearfully made. God, show them that you mean what you meant when you said what you said, that you love them. Show them exactly what you mean by love, your understanding. Give them the rhythm of your heartbeat and let their heart align with yours. God, I pray that harmony comes to everyone that hears me, including myself. Harmony with you and your spirit. Harmony when it comes to who they actually are and not what they have operated under or believed. God, let us be led by you and not by her trauma, led by your voice and not by the lies, led by your love and not by hates inside or outside of us. God, continue to cover us, heal us, and go before us. I pray over every family member, every friend, everyone that everyone's prayer that is seeking for greater in you. I pray that those who want you in their life right now, that they repeat after me, that that God, they come before you right now and say, God, forgive us for our sins and our mistakes, that we believe that Jesus is the Son of God and that he died on us and died on a cross for us to cover us. And we pray that he comes into our heart and live in our life. And if you prayed that prayer, you are now saved. You are a part of the kingdom. You have been entered in. Heaven is celebrating right now. And God, I just pray covering over everybody in our families, and our friends, and our jobs, our careers. Go before us, intervene in the places, stand up for us where we need help, send help. God, let your angels go out and move in the name of Jesus over us, in our lives, in our territory, over relationships that we don't even know we have yet, and cover us from and close doors against us from places that we've left that were negative. In Jesus' name, I pray. Amen. Okay. Well, that's it. I'm Lorenza Nicole Molina, the Black Butterfly Queen, and this is View from the Throne. Now, don't forget, no matter if your crown falls, maybe it may break, it may even shatter, but even broken crowns still shine. You are who you are, no matter what. And who you are is who God called you, not the people in this world. I'll see you next time at the throne. Bye.